Afternoon. This is David O. Thank you for joining me on WWDB 860 AM. It's In the Know with David O. I am David O. and so happy to join you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Hey, go Eagles, right? We're still basking in the fun and the glory of the Eagles' victory. I was on one of the buses, I'm happy to tell you, bus number 3, and so let me tell you, from that vantage point, 3 million people. I don't know what people are saying, but let me tell you, 3 million people excited, happy, yelling, just a level of intensity, and every building had faces in them, all the windows, all the way up top. Just an incredible amount of energy and unity. Wonderful thing to see. So thank you so much, Eagles. Let me start by thanking the show's sponsor, of course, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. They're at the Land Title Building, 100 South Broad Street, Suite 1800B, B as in boy. And if you or someone you know needs some professional service, some help, or you just want to have things checked out because something's not right with you physically, if you've been in an accident, you've been hurt, well, they do a wonderful job. Check them out, Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Listen, you can always listen to my guests by going to www.dbam.com, and you can also check it out on YouTube, because we sometimes have videos, like today we're videotaping our guests, and that's on YouTube, and just type in the Know with David O. Today we are going to talk to Marc Kramer, Mac Swan, and Peter Freudenberger. Marc Kramer is going to talk to us about angel investors, and some of you know what that is and some of you don't, but listen, it's about money you can get for the business that you're engaged in or starting, and so definitely you want to listen to that, because who doesn't need money? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk to Mac Swan, just a very fantastic young man, super talented, a finalist twice in PHL Live in the jazz category, but he does more than jazz. He was actually contributing to one of the hip-hop artists, and he does a lot of stuff. We'll hear some of his music as well, and then we're going to talk to Pete Freudenberger, and he is with the Stephen A. Cohen Military Families Clinic. Just fantastic work, and boy, what they offer. So if you're a veteran, a family member of a veteran, or a family member of someone in active duty service, they provide behavioral health care, and listen, no cost, and their parameters are much wider than the VA, and so it's a wonderful service they offer. Let me start by introducing you to Marc Kramer. Listen, I know Marc. Marc and I have known each other a long time. I don't see him often, but Marc is one of those guys who, his bio is like a telephone book, and so I'm not going to go through all this, but basically, let me tell you that he's currently an executive in residence at St. Joseph's University Hub School of Business. He's also the president of Kramer Communications, a marketing communications firm, and he's the executive director of the Private Investors Forum, and that organization runs Angel Venture Fair. He is well known in the business world. He has been a faculty member, adjunct professor at such places as University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, as well as Drexel University and Temple University, and even the National University of Singapore. He's written books, he's been in magazines, he's won many awards, including awards from Inc. Magazine for Entrepreneur of the Year, American Electronics Association Spirit of America Award, Top 5 Business Leaders Under the Age of 40 in the Philadelphia region by the Philadelphia JCs, and many others. He also is a former trustee of Cheney University, the oldest African American university in the United States, along with many other things. Marc, welcome to the show.
David, thank you so much for having me. And David was the winner that one year that I was a top 5 young business leader. David was the business leader of the year, and that's how we met back in the 90s.
Fantastic. I don't think it was a business leader. It was some kind of leader. You were probably the business guy, and I might have been something else. But yeah, that's how we met, and we stayed in touch. But yeah, your accolades are many. And one of the things that I really appreciated from that era of time, that was the .com bubble. That was, people don't remember that. Listen, there was a point in time where the internet was coming out, and they came out with, .com, and the story is you could write an idea on a napkin and someone would give you $100 million back in those days. Anyway, there was a thing about angel investors, and angel investors are different from other kind of investors because they come in and take a risk when a lot of other people won't. And why don't you define for our listener, what is an angel investor?
Well, an angel investor is a wealthy individual, typically an entrepreneur, either practicing entrepreneur or a retired entrepreneur who invest in other entrepreneurs. And today, they've taken the place of early stage venture capital, which there isn't a lot of. And so today's angel investors invest in just about everything that you can think of, investing sometimes as little as $25,000, but up to a few $1 million.
Right. And so, angel investors play a very important role. And in particular, I know you've written about competitiveness and global competitiveness, and how do angel investors help America?
Well, they're the ones that really are creating the jobs. I mean, because you can't get a bank loan if you're an early stage company, and the venture capitalists have gone away from investing in the very beginning stages of when you have this idea, you've written a plan, but you really don't have any revenue yet.
Right.
That's when these angels come in, and they create a lot of jobs throughout the country. I think last year, angel investors invested something around between, depending on who you talk to, $10 billion and $18 billion across the country.
Wow. Listen, Mark, I like to tell the listeners, that I'm a smart guy. I'm a pretty smart guy, and I am a smart guy. And I remember I was visiting Korea. This is back in the 80s, I think, and the StarTech phone had just come out. It was like Star Trek. It was black, had a little antenna. It was amazing. Because the other one's like a brick phone. It was really big. And I went to Korea, and I walked by this cart, and there was these candy-colored, pink, purple, all these brightly colored little things, and I wondered what they were. And the guy told me, it's a cell phone. And I looked at it and I said, those are cheap little things. And I said, what is the window on it? He said, it's a camera. I'm like, how stupid is that? A camera on a phone? So listen, you don't want smart guys like me deciding what to invest in or not. And so these angel investors are not lawyers like me. They're entrepreneurs. They've taken risks, and they're looking for the trends. And so if you got a good idea, and I mean not some kind of crazy idea, but crazy good idea, and you want to look for $50,000, $3 million, Marc Kramer can help you, and he can help you through the Angel Venture Fair.
That's right. If you go to angelventurefair.com, you'll find out more about us, and there's even video about our event. But we've been doing this for 20 years.
I know, it's a long time.
Yeah, and we've had, I guess, over the 20 years, we probably had maybe 3,000 or 4,000 companies apply to us.
Wow.
And we've had companies that have been on Shark Tank and successful, like WayPay. It's Under Arm deodorant. Started by two young women in the Philadelphia area that started out of their apartment. And
goodness, I'm going to buy some just because they're from Philly.
Piper Way, sorry, that's the name of the company.
Cool.
But they've gone in a few years from 0 to about 15 million in revenue.
Wonderful.
We had a company last year, and in 1 year, it's a biotech company called Polygen, and they have gone from 0 to 17 million in 1 year.
Wow, and all of us sit in this room nodding our heads. Come on, get on it. Get on the entrepreneur train.
That's right. I mean, and it's exciting being around these entrepreneurs. And what we're seeing now is even more women entrepreneurs. We ran an event this past fall called Women Funding, and we were hoping that 50 women would show up, and we had about 110 women come.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it was great.
Now, how can people get involved with Angel Venture Fair?
Sure. There's two types of groups. One are the entrepreneurs looking for money, and so if you're a university student and you're looking to raise money, some of the best companies have come from there. You can apply for free to the Angel Venture Fair, and you could be one of 10 companies that exhibits at the fair, and it would cost you nothing. So for the students, we don't charge them.
Right.
If you're not a student and you're applying right now, you can apply for $99, apply to the Angel Venture Fair. And if you're selected, you pay slightly around $800 to have a booth and pitch to 300 investors.
Right.
And what people don't realize is that lawyers are investors, accountants are investors, we have insurance brokers who are investors, because most of these folks make a lot of money,
Yes.
and they can afford to invest $25,000 to $100,000 in a particular deal.
And many times they're looking to invest.
Oh, they do, because they want an alternative investment, but they like the excitement of being with a startup company and seeing
Right.
where it's going to go.
Right, right. So this year, where is the Angel Venture Fair going to take place?
Every year we have it at the Union League because it's such an easy place to get to, but it also has such a rich history.
Right.
And lots of entrepreneurs are members there and have been members there since 1862,
Right.
when it first started. So I think people love the central location of it. I mean, last year we had 230 applicants from 28 countries, 25 universities, and 22 states.
Right. So for those who don't know, the Union League is right near City Hall, right in Philadelphia at Broad and Sansom Street. It's that old mansion-looking building with the statue of the Confederate soldiers outside.
Not Confederate, Union soldiers.
Oh, I'm sorry, Union soldiers. I'm sorry about that. Boy, it's the Union League.
Yeah, that's right. It was brought together.
So now you really remember where it is. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Confederate. I'm sorry, everybody. The Union soldiers out front.
That's right.
Yes, and so that is the Union League of Philadelphia.
That's right.
And how do people, really kind of gauge whether they should or shouldn't apply?
Well, I think in our particular case, anybody who's starting anything that can scale up, that could be, let's say, a $25 million business or greater within 5 years, those kinds of people should apply. So if you're thinking about opening up a pet shop in Philadelphia, probably not,
Yes.
because it can't scale enough. But if you've got a great app, or electronics, or biotech, or medical device, or you're a fashion designer, or like Evil Genius Beer had been in our fair twice.
Right.
And that company is now a national brand,
Right.
known like Yingling Beer.
Right.
So we've seen great companies. We had a company that won Southwest by Southwest as the top technology company in the country, and it came out of the University of Pennsylvania.
Wow. So for those listening, think about your business, where you're going with it, where you think it's going to, the growth that you want in 5 years, and do you need some money?
Also, if you're going to go get money from angel investors, before you take their money, see if there's somebody that can help you with sales, that they can open doors.
Right.
Because the worst type of investor you could bring in is somebody who's just writing a check and they can't add any additional value besides writing their check, because then they become impatient. But if there's somebody that they think that they can actually help your business with marketing, sales, then they're going to get really involved in your business in a positive way, not trying to help you, not helping you run the business or telling you how to manage the business, but helping you row the boat together to be successful.
Can you tell our listeners the difference between, for example, angel investors and venture capitalists?
Sure. Venture capitalists get their money from super wealthy people, but most of their money comes from institutions like pension funds and large corporations and government entities like government pension funds. And so those folks are typically looking to invest, I would say, $2 million and up into a venture, and they also want to see sales, and they're professional money managers who manage the money. Angel investors, the difference is that angels are using their own money to invest in the companies, and they're investing at smaller increments.
Now, typically, the public hears venture capital, and those are the guys that put a lot of money into your company and take 91% of it.
Now, that's pretty unusual. I mean, I've myself raised money for my own ventures, and I've never, I gave up once a majority share, but for the most part, I've gotten either 50-50 or I've owned the majority share. I think that nobody wants to disincentivize you to be successful. Right. I mean, if you don't own enough of your own company, then it doesn't make it interesting. But the biggest mistake that I see with entrepreneurs is that they feel they need to own the majority of their company. And if you take a look at Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or any of them, none of them have owned the majority of their company. And look how wealthy those guys are.
Sure, it's better to have 2% of $1 billion
yes.
than 100% of nothing. Right?
Exactly.
So how could you kind of, as an expert, tell the laypersons out there, people like myself, Where does the angel investor come in? Where does the venture capitalist come in?
So the angel investor comes in most cases before you either have any revenue coming in or just a small amount of revenue. And so they just want to see somebody might be interested in buying it, or at least some people want some intent. The venture capitalist doesn't want to come in until you've taken out almost all the risk. So they want to come in when you're in a couple million in revenue, and by the time they want to come in, unless you need large sums of money, you're better off getting bank capital.
Right.
Because bank capital is the cheapest form of capital you can get, and if you think your stock's going to be worth something, why would you go and give it to these venture capital people? But I think where the venture capitalists can come in is when you need large slugs of money that the bank cannot provide you with because you don't have enough assets or equity to give them. Then I think that's when the venture capitalist makes a lot of sense. And also they're great at opening doors as well.
So what is the typical amount of money people can get by meeting these very astute angel investors at your fair?
Sure. I mean, some invest as low as like $5,000, but typically they're investing, I'd say, on average between $25,000 and $100,000.
Right.
One of the things that does concern them is crowdfunding. Like if you go to raise money through crowdfunding,
Sure.
people are concerned because if you have lots of investors in there, typically they're overpaying for the stock, and your capitalization table is so large because so many people are involved. And for the venture capital people, if you've raised money from crowdfunding, they won't even touch your business.
Wow, I didn't know that because I always thought it was a good idea. You go on crowdfunding, get a lot of money, but why would they touch your business?
Because one is you're overvalued. Two is there's just too many investors that you have to
Right.
convince to take whatever the new deal is. And whatever the new deal is going to be a lot less than what they had bought it for. So because they're going to put in a larger slug of money, they typically feel it's overvalued. And the hardest thing to do when you're starting a company is value your business because it's a startup. I mean, there's nothing to really match it against.
Now I know you take a lot of pride in the Angel Venture Fair, 20 years and the largest of this kind in the Mid-Atlantic region.
That's right.
What makes your venture fair worth it?
Well, I think what makes it worth it is that we have 300 people who can write checks, so we have a large number of people that come.
I'm going just to hang out.
and we'd love to have you come. The other thing that we do that nobody else does in throughout the country is when you apply to us, and even if you're not selected to be one of 34 companies, there's 24 non-student companies, 10 student companies, we still market you to the over 200 angel groups that are part of the Angel Capital Association around the country.
Wow.
And we also market you to corporations who have their own venture capital arms. And we do it throughout the year. So I think that's an important distinction that we keep helping them beyond. And they can come to any event themselves aside from the Angel Venture Fair, because there's laws that say that only people who are accredited investors can actually hear people making pitches for money. But we run typically 5 to 6 events during the course of the year that they can network and meet investors, and they don't have to pay for that. Once you've applied to this, I don't ever make you pay again to come to any event that we do.
Wow. So let me ask again, where can people learn about this? How can they apply? Give us all the information.
Sure. All you really need to do is go to angelventurefair.com, and you can also write to me at mkramer, Kramer, at angelventurefair.com. And I'm glad to either answer your questions or steer you to the right places to do that. And I think that if you have any kind of business that is scalable, with the exception of retail and real estate, our investors, and that's the beauty of angels because they like a smorgasbord of types of companies, I think it's definitely worthwhile for you to take a look at.
So with the exception of retail and real estate, give us an example of retail and real estate so that's the exception. Don't come if you're doing retail or real estate.
All right, so let's say that you have a beauty shop or that you have a toy store or you have a dress shop and you only have one of these shops.
Right.
You know, unless you already have a chain of 10 and you need the additional growth capital, which then you're going to a bank anyway. Right. In real estate, if you were going to say I'm going to buy an apartment building, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Now, if in fact you've developed an app to go and help people sell their homes, that might be of interest. If you've decided that you've created something in artificial intelligence that helps you decide what properties to go and buy, then that probably will be of interest to them. But if it's the actual physically buying a building or a piece of land and developing that land, it's not for these folks.
I've reinvented the popsicle. Can I come?
We would love you to come if in fact that's a scalable business and you will have a lot of good organic ingredients in it.
Okay, so listen, you can't even joke with Mark because he is so serious and he's always looking at it as a professional, which is what I really appreciate about Mark. Any last words, Mark?
I think that one of the great things in this country, the thing that makes us different than the rest of the world, is our entrepreneurial spirit. And entrepreneurs have built this country and they continue to create the jobs in this country, and we need to get behind these entrepreneurs. So we need investors to make sure that they come out and hear the pitches, but we even need more entrepreneurs in this region to apply to the Angel Venture Fair and for our investors to see them, get to know them, and invest in them.
Wow, perfect. So the date, time, and location again.
Well, right now we're taking applications through the end of the month, so you should apply to angelventurefair.com and you'll find the information. And on May 4th is the actual date of the fair itself, and it's only open to those 34 companies and the 300, actually last year we had over 400 investors come to the fair.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Your great work. And listen, everybody, stay tuned because when we come back, we will be talking with and listening to a fantastic young musician. He is too cool for me. His name is Swan.